Thank you, everyone, for having me here. I'm going to jump right into it. So I'm going to be talking about aesthetic hedonism and AI art. Now, aesthetic hedonism is a theory of aesthetic value. What is aesthetic value? Aesthetic value is all around us. We see aesthetic value in visual art. We see it in film, in novels, in music. We see it in nature. And we even see it in abstract concepts like mathematical equations. So what is aesthetic value? Very roughly, it's a distinct kind of value that all good works of art and beautiful things have in common. Okay? So there's a question of, well, what makes an object have aesthetic value? And this is where the theory of aesthetic hedonism comes in, which very roughly says that the aesthetic value of an object is grounded in the intrinsically valuable experiences that it produces in its perceivers. So examples of such intrinsically valuable experiences would be pleasant experiences, meaningful experiences, or knowledge-acquiring experiences. These are all experiences that are valuable in themselves, and this explains why great works of art have the kind of value that they have. So just to take a few examples from film, you might say that The Wizard of Oz is aesthetically valuable primarily because of the pleasant experiences it elicits. Think of the colors when Dorothy steps out of her black and white world and sees all the colors around her, when she sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and just the pleasure that that song elicits. Schindler's List is very often a very painful film to watch, and yet we still value it because of the meaningful experiences it elicits. Meaningful themes about morality, suffering, persisting when it seems like there's no hope. And then finally, there's films we appreciate arguably for their knowledge-acquiring experiences, valuable knowledge about certain valuable insights. Perhaps this is why we value documentaries like Werner Herzog documentaries. So these are just different examples of films and why we value them. The aesthetic hedonist would be, they have the aesthetic value they have because of these different kinds of experiences they elicit. All right. So I want to talk about two hypothetical choice scenarios related to AI art and how they pose. Actually, sorry, before I go into this, I should mention that, okay, so aesthetic hedonism is considered the default theory of aesthetic value, but it has faced quite a bit of resistance in recent years, including from Dom Lopez and Anthony Cross. So I should mention that, yeah. So I myself am sympathetic to the view, and I defend a restricted version of it, and so that's why I'm focusing on it. So with that being said, so I want to talk about two hypothetical choice scenarios that related to AI art that pose problems and questions for aesthetic hedonism in particular, and for theories of aesthetic value in general. So scenario one. So as background for this scenario, I should note that, as I think is clear, while there has been a lot of interesting and arguably good AI art that's been generated, there has also been an influx of mediocre and uninteresting AI art that has been generated. So given that, imagine this scenario. Suppose you have the choice, you're an art collector, and you have the choice of whether to purchase and display one of two art collections. The first one is a collection of physical, human-made paintings with pieces that look like this, okay? And the second collection is this is a fairly small collection. And then the second is a very large collection of AI art-generated pieces that look like this. Okay? Now, this actually is not AI generated. It's a famous or infamous NFT, but AI is capable of, there are examples of AI art that are similar pixel art, that have a similar pixel art style. But anyway, this is just to illustrate, a point. Suppose you have a collection with paintings, a small collection of paintings that look like Starry Night, and you have, on the other hand, a choice to purchase a very large collection of, NFT-looking pieces of pixel art. And suppose that these collections are the same price. So I have a graph, or a couple, I have a diagram here that where A represents the Van Gogh collection. So that's the small human-made collection. The x-axis represents the number of items in the collection, and the y-axis represents the quality of the art pieces, okay? So A, the Van Gogh human-made collection, has a small number of high-quality art, and the Z collection has a very large number of positive quality, but much lower positive quality art, okay? And so you might, this might pose a problem for aesthetic hedonism if the art collector is a hedonist who faces this choice, because since aesthetic hedonism, for aesthetic hedonism, what matters is the value of the experiences produced by the art. If we assume that the smaller art collection will produce a high-quality experiences for a small number of people, say because you as an art collector decide to display them in your house for like a small number of viewers to see, whereas the large collection has low quality but still valuable experiences for a very large number of people, say because you're displaying this digital art on an online platform for thousands of people to see, then if we sum up the total value of all the valuable experience, suppose it's the case that the total sum value of valuable experience is greater in Z than in A, okay? So you might think that as an aesthetic hedonist, you should buy the NFT collection because that will result in greater sum total of positive value experience in the world. So I'm calling it the aesthetic repugnant conclusion because it's a reference to a problem posed by Derek Parfit in Population Ethics, where he raises a similar problem of how we are to think about population growth and what the size of populations should be. That's one choice scenario that the aesthetic hedonist art collector could face, and it would seem like that's a problematic conclusion that you should buy the NFT collection over the Van Gogh collection. So as a response to that, there's been similar moves in population ethics to respond to this, but what I would be inclined to say is that great works of art are incomparable or infinitely more valuable than barely good or mediocre works of art, and that this is because of the distinction in the value of the experiences of the artwork. No amount of kindergarten doodles or uninteresting pixel art can sum up to equal the value of Van Gogh's Starry Night. And I would just encourage you to think about the distinction of the experience that's elicited. When you look at the left-hand painting versus the experience that's elicited, these are incomparable in terms of the quality, the complexity that's involved in the experiences. Okay, so that's scenario one. Now, scenario two, so I want to follow Dom's lead and think about kind of a wild possibility in the future, and then say why we shouldn't worry about it. So suppose that one day, maybe not so far in the future, AIs actually become better art creators than we are, okay, on any measurable scale of art quality, okay? So you might think, oh, this is speculative or sci-fi. Maybe it is, but arguably in principle it's possible, especially if you're sympathetic to computational theories of the mind, where we're basically biological computers to begin with. But just humor me for a moment, because I'm going to say even if this is possible, we shouldn't worry about it. So this is the choice, given this world where the AIs are better than we are at creating art. You have the choice between keeping the status quo and allowing human art creators to do their thing, or you replace all the human art creators with AI art generators. That's the choice. And suppose that in this case, the diagram looks like this. So again, so A in this case represents like the x-axis is all the work produced by human artists, which has pretty high quality, versus the work that can be produced by AI art generators in this world. So they're much more efficient, so they can not only produce a greater number of art pieces, but the quality, again, we're assuming, is going to be significantly higher. All right? And I think pretty much any theory of aesthetic value, if this is the case, it would be hard to deny that from an aesthetic standpoint, we should replace the human artist with the AI artists. Now, I think that this would be true if we only cared about aesthetic value. We should choose World Z over A and replace all human artists with AI art generators if that's the only value we cared about. But that's not the only kind of value we care about. We also care about the value of human excellence and achievement. Given this other kind of value we care about, perhaps all things considered, we should not replace human artists with AI artists. And I want to point to an analogy with chess here to kind of bring this out more. So as of today, computers are much better than we are at playing chess. And this computers surpassed our chess abilities, years ago. And when this happened, what's interesting is that we didn't just stop playing and appreciating human chess and spend all our chess resources watching and appreciating the computers playing each other, right? One might argue, though, that from the pure standpoint of promoting chess excellence, this is what we should have done. We should have devoted, from a standpoint of promoting chess excellence, we should have devoted all our resources to producing computer versus computer chess games, watching those, learning from those, appreciating those, because that's what would be optimal for chess. However, we didn't do that, and I think we were right not to do that, because even if this is what we should have done from the standpoint of promoting chess excellence, we don't care only about chess excellence. We also care specifically about promoting human chess excellence. We care about and take pride in being the best human chess players that we can be, and we marvel and take pleasure in human chess achievement. And similar analogies can be drawn to other domains. If we could create AI basketball robots that could play basketball better than LeBron James or Steph Curry, we wouldn't just replace all NBA players with AI basketball playing robots and watch them. Why? Again, because we don't just care about basketball excellence in itself as some abstract thing. We care specifically about human basketball excellence and achievement. And so my suggestion is that similarly, perhaps we don't just care about aesthetic excellence in itself, but we take a special interest in human aesthetic excellence. Even if the AIs can do a better job purely than we could in this sphere, it doesn't mean we should stop being artists and stop creating art, because we care about and take pride and pleasure in being the best human art creators we can possibly be, and we marvel when we witness specifically human aesthetic achievements. So, I'm hoping this is a bit of an optimistic note to end on. So, like, even if the aesthetic value is greater overall in World Z that I put up there, where we have replaced all human artists with AI artists, and even if consequently World Z is aesthetically better, and it's aesthetically what we should pursue, again, we don't just care about aesthetic value, and so all things considered, when we consider all the kinds of value we do care about, maybe we shouldn't pursue World Z, since this would prevent us from promoting the value we specifically place in human aesthetic excellence and achievement. Thanks.